2026, 2027. What is going to happen on that year, those years, any years, if anything? So many people who say that there is something coming. You've heard it time and time again. There was an ex-CIA op that said it at one point, the 2026 or 2027, I think was the year. Lou Elizondo has said something along the lines of that. There's been that rumor, even if you look at what they said with the Soul Foundation when that slate was released on how they were going to eventually try to get disclosure out there, that it was 2026, 2027 was that the heavier push of information would start to come out. So Chris Bledsoe, who I don't know if you guys have been following this story over the last week or so. Chris Bledsoe, who has been highly respected in the UFO community, when it comes to, if you guys have been watching the the Skywatcher documentary and the people who can essentially summon UFOs and sky. Chris Bledsoe is one of those people who's been, not in that documentary, but one of the people who's been said to be able to do such a thing. Well, there was this interview that he was on with Shawn Ryan about, I think they shot it a couple of weeks ago, and then within that interview, within the time that it was going to come out, they had said that Shawn Ryan's people said they're not going to release it. They didn't want to be associated with some of the stuff that was said in the interview. And then there was a huge pushback on that, and people were like, what are you talking about? Why would you do that? Let's see the interview. Let's judge for ourselves. So whatever happened, they decided to indeed do that, and they released it. And there have been a couple of different clips. And as I mentioned in the beginning of this intro, Chris Bledsoe is one of those people who said that he also heard the same thing about when that was lining up for that date that something was going to happen. Now, he explained a little bit more in detail, so I'll play that clip from the Shawn Ryan show, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Check this out.
Exact alignment will happen in 2026 at Easter.
What will happen?
The alignment she told me about, that the Star of Regulus would be on the horizon in front of the Sphinx. At that moment, there'd be a new knowledge. Well, I had no idea if this was even possible, but these astronomers run it through the machines, and it comes out that star is going to come up on the horizon in Easter of 2026. And from that point forward, they started remote viewing the state. Government did. And now you hear it all over TV. 2026, that's the big date. 2027, that year, something's going to happen. Armageddon, you hear it all over. You hear it on TV. If you study, I've heard even, well, I won't say names, but
please do.
Well, Lou Elizondo, right? Lou's mentioned that date. A lot of people have.
Easter of 2026.
Well, the year 2026. I gave him a specific time. And it was with Robert Grant that I told him about this alignment and all. And he's like, oh my God. He's been looking for this ruby. This little ruby you have to find and place it between the paws of the Sphinx to make this event that he knows is going to happen in 2026. I said, Robert, it's not a ruby. It's the Star of Regulus. He looks at it, he's like, oh my God, it's the King's Star. So what's going to happen, I don't know. But I think it's possible that's the return of
Christ.
Yeah. Or the lady and the whole heavenly host living with us, Jesus. That's the first time I've ever said that in my life, publicly. You're the first.
I know. People are going to be scratching their heads. And now there's a lot of people that will be watching this and will agree with Chris Bledsoe and say, why not? There's other skeptics that will say, well, you have the lineup with science and everything else too, combining it with the religious aspect at the end. I don't know if I'm on that side. I land in that court. Now, that doesn't mean that, like I said on this channel many, many times, I never say anything as far as well, that's not what it is. Your religion isn't what you think it is, and your religion isn't what I think it is. You know why? Because I don't know. I respect people who say, well, I do know. I don't know how you know. Maybe you just got a really good faith, and more power to you. More power to you. I don't think that way. I think more so of, I'm more of a anything could be. We don't know a fraction of what we think we know. But it is, one of these things where you go, okay, you have all this information. Now, there's two different things that are coming here. The first part of it is information that has been said widely within the community, which is there's going to be a date that comes out, whether it's 2026, 2027. Everybody seems to be singing that same song, right? Now, he is saying, Bledsoe that is, talking about information that he heard and information from scientists and other things of what it's lining up to. Now, when he was talking to his friend, that's the Star of the King, and probably a very religious man, and thought that that's the conclusion or the hypothesis that they came up with. Everything leading up to that is something that's been throughout the community. And this is one thing. Now, this might also be one of those things that Shawn Ryan is like, well, I don't know if I can get on board. I think I think it was the right move not to hold the interview. You can have people discussing the conversation in general. Because, look, I've seen comments on this channel where I've said, I don't know about the demon aspect of this, and people saying that it's demons and it's angels and all that. And I have seen a heavy pushback on my opinion on that. I've seen people who do believe that. Again, I don't know anything. I don't think that's the case, but that's me. I don't think that this means that it's the next coming of Christ, but that's me. Chris Bledsoe thinks that that's a possibility. Chris Bledsoe is a respected person within this community in general with the things that he's seen. I believe that he's seen a lot of different things. I believe that there's certain things that he can do that are pretty incredible. I think that he's been proven to do that. I think that there's things that he posts on his Twitter and other things that he has. And I think that there's things that he's been approached with that he's talked about. And, I think there's a lot more to this guy than people give him even credit for. And like I said, he's very respected. It's tough, though, when you run into this type of thing. Like I said, this video to me was more so about the idea of the 2026, 2027, if there's anything in general that's coming too. Now, the question is, as everyone says, now when you talk about these dates, now, what's that date? What's that mean? When you look at Stephen Greer and the things that he said, that this could be a fabricated event that is out there just to finally put it out there that these things are out there, but it's not an actual threat. That's what Stephen Greer continuously says. But the problem also goes to be what we've said time and time again. Now, all hell is going to break loose. Like, speaking of Stephen Greer said full disclosure and everything else was coming, I think, 2 weeks ago, and that didn't happen. So that's one person who said this is going to happen in January, and nothing happened. So we've seen that time and time again, right? Ross Coldhart, who I was wrong about, and up top, I thought he had said January in my wonderful comment section. I pointed out that he said the beginning of 2025. Now, in his argument, he could say, well, we did. All hell did break loose is what his argument could be. We had Jake Barber out there. We were the first person to bring Jake Barber out. Now he's everywhere. He is exposing all of these things. So all hell is breaking loose. That could be an argument. Now, it depends on how you look at that. And you can say, okay, it may be, but maybe we just have expectations in a certain way that we think all hell is breaking loose and that new things are going to happen. And when they don't, he goes, well, actually, all hell did break loose when you look at what we did. This is another one of those things. Now, it's one thing he didn't say, and this is what people have to be careful about. He didn't say, well, in 2026, 2027, on Easter, Christ is coming back. Buckle up. He didn't say that. He had his theory about the things that were lining up. The things that were lining up, and scientists said with this star and this event that was supposed to happen that everyone's talking about, that's what he thinks. Could be. Again, as a very religious man that he seems to be, then maybe that's where he went. As I said before, I can't go that route. I don't go that route. Now, I go more in the route of, do I actually think something's going to happen at all in 2026 and 2027? I believe that asking questions and continuously looking at what is happening within this topic is important. I have become more of a doubter, not of the subject itself, but of the information that is supposedly coming out. Because it just feels like we go through this vicious cycle, of, okay, something's coming big, something big. Here it is. Like, okay, that was something. I'm still interested, but it wasn't as big as I thought, but I'm still interested. All right, waiting. Here's something coming really big. Here it is. Anything else? Yeah, I do. Something else coming up. Here it goes, and this. How about that? And I know there are people who are watching this channel like, really, man? I've been following this thing for 20 years, and that's how you feel now? Yeah, it is. Because I got in on this topic when it's really started to heat up and there's more information and other things coming up. The other thing that I have lost hope in was that everything that was being said before the election, and we're like, no matter, we'll see what happens once we find out who the president's going to be. And Trump's administration said it looks like they're going to be the ones with full disclosure, right? And then the first thing that they do is say, the drones, they're FAA approved. And they were doing research or something. See you later. Bye-bye. And you're like, wait, what? No, that's not no. What really happened? Come back, tell us. And now there's still drones flying around Jersey, and they're trying to get in touch with the FAA, and there's no one's calling it, ghosting them. So, how are we supposed to get actual information on other things if they're not telling us what those things really are? Did anybody really believe that? Because this is the point of that, by the way. And I think that I've said this many times over. And I've also told you guys many, many times how I believe that the mainstream media is so crucial, even if whatever you feel about them. I happen to think that they're a joke, but they're crucial. Because when you have a statement like that saying that they're FAA approved and that they're for research and stuff, that hits the news cycle. And that goes around, and then people who are just kind of not paying attention to the daily footage or videos or countless amounts of videos that channels like this make about this subject, and how when you hear Ryan Graves talk about it, you hear Jake Barber talk about it, you hear Burchett talk about it, the average person isn't watching that stuff. They are looking at the news and going, oh, okay, it was FAA approved. What's the next story? Cat in a tree. And so that they accomplish their goal with what they want to do, and that's what makes me nervous about, it's the same old. Every administration is doing the same thing and being kind of led by a string by whoever the powers may be to say, no, we're not going to have you talk about that just now. Because we'll see we'll see what happens. But the 2026, 2027 thing, I don't know. We'll see, because it's one of those things where I always talk about it and attack Peters on this show, and he'll probably be on tomorrow. And we discuss how movies or rumors in the movie sphere, right? It's like, oh, so-and-so is rumored to be in this movie. That comes out in 2 years from now. And in 2 years from now, that person's not in the movie. And you go, what happened? If that person was supposed to be in the movie. Oh, well, things fell through. Didn't happen because it was true. It just, at the last minute or about a month ago, it fell through. So is that person who reported on that wrong? Were they making stuff up? We don't know. So it's similar to the 2026, 2027 thing. How do you know that? How are we sure? And if it doesn't happen, well, things have changed. It's now 2037. Oh, it's now 2047. Hey, everybody's dead. It's now 3046. So I don't know. What I do know is that there's lots of stories out there like this. I do find a lot of things fascinating. Chris Bledsoe is one of those people I find fascinating. I find his stories fascinating. But I think that that's what a lot of you guys, and I think rightfully so, have an issue with sometimes, because it's like fascinating stories. Where's the fascinating evidence? Will we get that? It's the same old conversation. So thanks for joining me here today. I appreciate it. As always, comment, like, do all of that. As I mentioned, if you in every video you want to help this channel out, you always comment, subscribe, like, do all that. That is super helpful. You can become a member, but if not, if you want to do something else, you want to get something for yourself, I got 2 great sponsors today. I told you about Public Rec. They got great clothes, and Via. My goodness, do I relax with some Via. I'll tell you about both of them right now, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye. All right, let's be honest. Nobody has time anymore for stiff, uncomfortable pants. It's February. It's cold outside. And you deserve to be comfortable. And that's why I keep telling you about Public Rec. The pants are a game changer. The pants are designed to be comfy as your favorite sweats, but way more stylish. Talking about super soft fabric, no stiff seams, and enough stretch to keep up with whatever your day throws at you. Not just about pants. They got a lot of different style options, whether you're working all day in the office, running errands, or just grabbing a drink. Who doesn't want to look sharp without sacrificing comfort? I'm telling you, once you put them on, you're going to wonder why you wore anything else. That's all I get now. Gifts for my wife. It's Public Rec. So this February, treat yourself right because comfort is always in session. Upgrade to Public Rec and feel the difference. Limited time. You can get 20% off at Public Rec. You got to use that code DTE at checkout. Just head to publicrec.com, use that code DTE, then you're all set. Oh, and when they ask you how you found them, you got to be sure to mention our show because it really helps us out. Find your perfect fit and never compromise on comfort again. Public Rec, where comfort rules. Let's get excited again. It's Via time. I'm so excited to have Via back on the show because let's be honest, everybody, 2025 has been all about change. Doesn't matter if it's work, if it's personal stuff, or just the daily grind. It can be hard to keep up, but here's the deal. When things get hectic, you don't have to go through it alone. Embrace the power of nature and elevate your everyday with Via. It's trusted by over 500,000 customers. Via is the Swiss Army knife of wellness. It's dedicated to harnessing the natural beliefs of hemp to create high-quality wellness products, whether you're looking to improve your sleep, focus, recovery, add a little pep to your step, or just get high. Via has something for you. With the products ranging from 0 to 100 milligrams of THC, Via gives you the power to blaze your own trail. I love Via. For me, it's the sleep stuff. I have the gummies that I take right before I go to bed, and I am sleeping well. So if you're 21 and over, check out our link to Via's website in our description and use that code DTE. Why would I want to do that? You get 15% off. And if you're new to Via, you get a free gift of your choice. I promise you, I've been talking about Via now, I guess, for the last 3 or 4 months, and I am so excited to have them back. So please, go and check it out. You will not be disappointed. Via.